So if you saw the video where I was sawing up the 48-inch white oak log, this slab on the ground there on the mill tracks is what's left. I ended up with 12 8-person dining table size white oak slabs. Once I'm able to move that one and get it onto the sawmill, I'll be able to get one more, so I'll have 13 dining table size white oak slabs out of that 48-inch 8-foot long white oak slab. Here's some of the other slabs that came from it. Today I'll be sawing up a very large red oak slab, log, to make some more dining table size slabs. This log is about 8 feet long. On the small end, it is about 40 inches. And then on the big end, it is about 48 inches. So this should have, probably 4 or more dining table size red oak slabs that'll seat 8 people. And I will be lifting this one onto the mill and sawing it on the mill because it's not as heavy as the white oak log, but I saw it yesterday that was actually about 6,500 pounds. The next thing I'll need to do is roll the log out so that I can pick it up with a log arch. Given that it's about 4 feet in diameter, if I roll it one complete revolution, then that should roll about 12 feet, maybe a little more. And that'll put me right in the center of this little flat spot here. So ideally, that'll give me enough room to pick it up. The next thing I need to do is get this 3,000-pound log onto the sawmill base. I know that my log arch will lift it because I used the log arch to recover that log and bring it over here. Today I have the tractor and I'll use that to pick up the back of the log, and that should make it go a little easier and a little faster. Now that I have the log position where I want it, the next thing I need to do is to level out the trailer so that the slabs come out nice and flat and they're not twisted. And I'll do that with the trailer jacks and the level. Now that we know the trailer's level and we know that we won't be cutting twisted slabs, the next thing we need to do is stabilize the log, and I have a system for that. All right, so we have our red oak log loaded up. We've got it stabilized with the wedges. We've got the sawmill head on the sawmill, and it is ready to run. In case you missed it, this log is about 40 inches on this end. And about 49 inches on this end. So with its height of about 36 inches on this end and about 32 on that end, we should get 4 to 6 nice 8-person dining table sized red oak slabs out of this log. All right, with those 5 cuts, we've sawed down to the biggest section of a log here. So we're at 40 inches on this end. I think we're at the 48 mark on this end. Yeah, we're at about 48 on this end. The tape measure's not working right, but we're right at 48 on this end. So it's time to get those slabs off and see what they look like. It would be a dining table size slab because it's 30 inches on that end and 38 inches on this end. However, this white wood over here, the sapwood, is really punky and it's just gonna break off. And so I'm gonna go ahead and break off as much as I can with the rubber mallet and see what I'm left over with. But chances are this is not gonna stack with the dining table size slabs. I'll put it aside and dry it by itself and use it for a bar top or something. It's not actually as bad as I thought it was. Take a like a 40 grit or 60 grit and sand this down to a growth ring, and it'll look great. This is heavily spalted, and it will make a nice bar top, coffee table, desk, or whatever someone wants to make from it. This one is definitely a dining table size slab. The narrowest point on this one is 30 inches, and then the widest point down here is 40 inches. The spalting carried through to this one, and went ahead and knocked off all the sapwood on this side. And then in addition to knocking the sapwood off, I took another tool called a turbo plane, and I just removed the sapwood almost all the way back to the hardwood there, so that you can see how it looks, once you've kind of smoothed it out a little bit. It would certainly be a lot smoother than this. From here, I would start with probably 40 grit or 60 grit and just sand it back a little bit more, leave some of the white in there, and then have some of the red, and so you'll have red, white, and black along the side there, and it'll look beautiful. This one is 36 inches at the narrowest spot close to the other end down there, and it is 40 inches actually 45 inches on this end down here. So I tried to knock off the sapwood on this side, and it is a little soft, but with a lot of force with the rubber mallet, it wouldn't come off. So I'm going to leave it on there in hopes that I can save it and have a very beautiful, symmetrical, clean 8-person dining table red oak slab. And here's another very solid 8-person dining table sized red oak slab with a lot of spalting. I did try to knock the sapwood off of this one, and it didn't want to come off, so that's good. Hopefully it'll stay on there, and we'll have the nice color patterns on each side. The narrowest point on this slab down there close to that end is 37 inches, and the widest point down here at the bottom is 47 inches. So another very solid 8-person red oak dining table size slab. About 2 inches from making the last cut of the day, I ran out of gas. It's 8:45 a.m. on November 27th, and the solar kiln is hard at work doing its job. It's partly cloudy today, and those 18-volt solar panels are getting plenty of juice to spin the 12-volt fans. If you want to hear more about the solar kiln in the future, I will do a full tour and explanation of the solar kiln, so be sure to like and subscribe and make sure that you don't miss that. This one is actually the biggest slab out of the logs so far. This is the 4th slab down, and it is 38 inches on the narrowest point, close to that end, and then on this end it's actually 46 inches. So that is a very big 8-person, possibly 10-person live edge slab red oak dining table top. This one is probably not only the biggest slab, but it is the best slab. Not only does it have the spalting on the sides, the sapwood is intact on the sides, but it's got this nice crack down the middle that can be filled with clear or tinted epoxy, and it's got a lot of figuring in it. So when you get down to the center slabs, probably the 4 center slabs, you get all of the figuring that you'd get from quarter sawn wood. And so this will be absolutely incredible once it's finished. It's also extremely flat. I'm going to put the level on here to show how flat it is. This was the first cut after I put a new blade on, and so that certainly helped. If you saw the video where I saw the white oak log, I showed where the blade would dip down when it came to that big knot, and then come back out once it passed that big knot. This red oak log didn't have any knots in it. It's clear sawn, and it came out extremely flat. You can see that that 4-foot section there is perfectly flat. And then if we move it on down, get a little bit, about 1/8 of an inch of deflection at the front. And the reason you get that is that this ends of a log, they're extremely dry, and it takes a lot of force to actually get the blade started in the log. And when you do that, the blade tends to want to sort of point up, and so it starts to cut up a little bit. And when you get into the log where it's still got some moisture content, it levels out and continues with a flat cut. If we look down here, maybe maybe a 1/16 of an inch of deflection in that 4-foot section there. And then if we put it across the log, we've probably got an 1/8 inch high in the center. And quite frankly, it doesn't get much better than that on a log this size, cutting slabs this size. It is a little easier to cut the red oak than it is the white oak. The white oak is extremely dense and extremely hard. The red oak is very dense and very hard as well, but just not as dense and hard as the white oak. This is the 6th slab down, and it is another gigantic 8, maybe 10 person size slab. Both of the edges are intact. The sapwood is hard enough to leave on. Most of the pith was in the last slab. Some of it remains in this slab here, and those cracks will be nice to fill with some epoxy. All these slabs are cut at 2.5 inches thick, and that way, even as flat as they are, during the drying process, they'll try to warp. Some spots will shrink more than others, and so you want to have a little bit extra on there to make sure that you can get a nice flat slab. That's why I cut these at 2.5 inches. Certainly don't look like they're cut at 2.5 inches, but they're so wide that you can't really tell. If this was a 12-inch wide board, you'd think it's extremely thick. However, because they're a full 47 inches wide, this one's 46 on this end, and it's 39 up there. Because of that, you really can't tell that they're 2.5 inches thick, but they are a full 2.5 inches thick. This slab is number 7 of the dining table size slabs, and it too is a large dining table size slab. It's right at 8 feet long, and that's big enough to comfortably seat 8 people. And you could probably put 10 good friends or family members at a table that's 8 feet long. Another slab with the sapwood on the sides intact, a lot of spalting on the sides. What I haven't shown in any of these is just the figuring in the sides there. It's almost has like a curly figuring on the sides there, in addition to the spalting. So these are wet from the water I use to lubricate the blade. But this is about what it's going to look like once you get a coat of polyurethane on it. It's going to have all these colors coming out really well. You'll be able to see all this figuring. And if you were to do epoxy on it, then you'd even see more of the figuring and more of the spalting and more of the colors. This black that you see here, it is from the blade. Red oak is extremely corrosive. Whatever the water inside here, it is with the chemicals from the red oak is extremely corrosive. It'll rust and tarnish metals and the sawmill blades, and that's what this black is from. This will actually come out when it's sanded. This is just on the surface here, but this other black on the side, that's all spalting, and it goes all the way through the wood. This slab is number 7 of the dining table size slabs, and it too is a large dining table size slab. It's right at 8 feet long, and that's big enough to comfortably seat 8 people. And you could probably put 10 good friends or family members at a table that's 8 feet long. Another slab with the sapwood on the sides intact, a lot of spalting on the sides. What I haven't shown in any of these is just the figuring in the sides there. It's almost has like a curly figuring on the sides there, in addition to the spalting. So these are wet from the water I use to lubricate the blade. But this is about what it's going to look like once you get a coat of polyurethane on it. It's going to have all these colors coming out really well. you'll be able to see all this figuring. And if you were to do epoxy on it, then you'd even see more of the figuring and more of the spalting and more of the colors. This black that you see here, it is from the blade. Red oak is extremely corrosive. You know, whatever the water inside here, it is, you know, with the chemicals from the red oak is extremely corrosive. It'll, you know, rust and tarnish, you know, metals and the sawmill blades, and that's what this black is from. This will actually come out when it's sanded. This is just on the surface here. But this other black on the side, that's all spalting, and it goes all the way through the wood. When I do get the chance to cut this one, it will be yet another gigantic 8 to 10 person dining table sized red oak slab. It is 33 inches wide on that end and 40 inches wide on this end. I've gone as low as I can cut with my sawmill in this configuration, and I've blown out my belts, and so I've got to get new belts. You know, this log produced 8, that'll be 8 and possibly 9 dining table size slabs. And that is a lot, because this log was only 32 inches tall on that end, 36 inches tall on this end, and 40 inches wide, or excuse me, 48 inches wide on this end and 40 inches wide on that end. And that is a big log. However, compared to some of the other logs I have here, it's a baby. That particular white oak log there is over 10 feet long. It's over 48 inches in diameter on this end, depending on where you measure it. And on that end, you know, it's basically, at some spots it's 67. I think the way that I'm going to cut it, it's going to be about 63. I'll still have to remove some of the root flare on each end there to get it through the sawmill. I'll video that and post it soon, so be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see that one. Should be some gigantic conference table sized white oak slabs coming out of that. That one there is 48 inches long, excuse me, 48 inches on each end. It's 8 feet long. So I should get another, you know, 12 or 13, maybe 14, you know, 8 to 10 person dining table size slabs out of that white oak log. Of course, my solar kiln is in the background there, putting in the work, drying the slabs. I've got another giant white oak log, excuse me, red oak log over there. It's significantly bigger than the one you saw in this video. It's, you know, I think it's over 50 inches on the butt end and 48 on the narrow end there. Sometimes people ask me, you know, where did these logs come from? They've all been blown down by the wind, and they would have died, or, you know, they were dead because they were blown down by the wind. But I recovered the logs. Some of the logs I recovered with my log arch that you saw in this video. These big logs, there's no way that I could have picked them up with the log arch because they're so heavy, and then the weight limit of my trailer is about 7,000 pounds. So I sawed the logs into the lengths that I want. It took me an entire weekend, maybe 2 weekends, to just saw the logs to the lengths that I want, and then roll them out onto a flat area, you know, using, you know, whatever means I could, pulling them with the truck, wrapping the tow straps around them and rolling them out. And then I just called a guy with a larger than normal flatbed tow truck, and he literally just pulled them up onto the flatbed tow truck and brought them here and dropped them off for me. Cost me about $400 to get all 3 of these logs moved 2 or 3 miles. They would have been a huge burden on the homeowner, and they actually fell in the front yard of this house, and the log had been sitting there until my dad found out about it and talked to the homeowner. They would have been a huge burden on him. It would have cost him several $1,000s to get rid of these logs. Again, these white oak logs will never rot. The sapwood on the outside will rot off, but the heartwood of red oak is incredibly durable. They make ships out of white oak. You know, the ships that, you know, like the British Navy used with sails and back in the day. And then they make even fence posts out of white oak. And I've heard that a fence post made out of white oak can last 40 years. And so there was no way these, these logs would have ever rotted away. The homeowners would have had to have them moved. And it would have cost them thousands of dollars to get them moved. And so I did them a favor by recovering the logs. And now these logs that, would have gone to waste, they would have gone to the dump. They're going to be heirloom dining tables. I mean, I've got, probably in the last, 2 videos I've made, I've cut about 20 dining table size slabs out of these logs that I've recovered. I used to have a lot more than these. I've sawed a lot of them up. I'm actually coming to the sort of the last of the supply that I recovered during a huge windstorm here in the northern part of central Alabama, just north of Lake Martin. There's a huge windstorm, and that's where most of these logs came from. They were blown down. I recovered 2 really big red oaks. Both of the red oaks were in the front yards of homeowners within a mile of here, literally within a mile of here. That's where these big red oak logs came from. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Obviously I've got a lot of cleanup work to do, and now I have to stack these slabs, and that is extremely hard work. These slabs weigh 300 pounds a piece, and so if you wonder why I talk slow and mouth breathe and can't quite find my words during these videos, it's because I'm working as hard and as fast as I can to get all this done. I work 100% by myself, and so everything that you see here, other than the kiln, which I received a lot of help from my family members and some of the neighbors building, but all of the wood being stacked, all of the wood being sawn, that's almost 100% of my own efforts, and quite frankly, it's hard work. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and share, and you'll see more videos about sawing gigantic logs, and I'll do a walk around and explanation of my home built sawmill, and I'll also do a tour and explanation of my solar wood drying kiln.